Hi everybody, thanks very much for joining me today. It's much appreciated. So today we're looking at an item that's very interesting, really cool, and very new to me, and it's probably new to a lot of you guys as well. It's sitting right here, and what is it? This, my friend, is a diesel powered heater from a company called Vevor. Now these are really popular with the overlanding crowd, you know, those guys who drive around in 4x4s with the rooftop tents. They use these to heat their tents in the cold weather. Some people use them to heat the cab of their truck or the back of their truck when they're camping out. You can use them to heat any old tent or even a small workshop. They're pretty cool. I didn't know too much about them till about a year ago, and since then they've kind of had me interested. Now, when I first heard diesel powered heater, I thought this thing will be stinky, and how safe is it really? But I can tell you after using it, it's safe, and also there's no smell involved at all. It's a pretty efficient little unit. Let's take a look at it in detail. Let's take a quick look at the inside of the unit. It's pretty simple actually, but pretty ingenious. Up top there's a fuel tank where the diesel fuel goes in, of course. Here's a small fuel pump. Here is where all the combustion takes place. In here there's also a heat sink or heat exchanger. So this heat exchanger is heated up. Fresh air is drawn in through the back over the heat exchanger. Then the warmed air is blown out through the front, heating your environment. Now there are two hoses which need to be constructed by you. They come with the unit. This one brings in fresh air to combust. This one is the exhaust air. You have to attach these two pipes to the bottom of the unit. Very simple to do. They only go on one way. Now, since the combustion air and the air heated into your environment are completely separate, it is safe. There's no smell involved. But of course, when using a combustion unit like this, you always want to have a carbon monoxide detector in your environment. Here's the front of the unit. Here's where the hot air comes out to heat your environment. The control panel is easy to read. It did come with a supplied remote. I couldn't get my remote to work, so I'm just going to work off this control panel here. Not a big deal to me. Now you do need a power source to run this unit. You can plug it directly into your car. You can wire it into your car. I'm going to use one of my solar power generators. Okay, let's fire it up. I'm holding down the power button. The fan is working. Very soon you'll hear the pump ticking. There's the fuel pump, and I don't know if you could just hear the ignition going. So the fuel pump does tick, and the blower motor, of course, does make a noise. So you have to keep that in mind if it's something that you think you might use. The temperature is controlled by these dials, by these buttons rather, up to 6. As you can see, keep it on 5 for the moment. As you can see, it's ticking along just nice. Here's the fresh air intake for the combustion. Here's the exhaust, and the warm air is going into the hot tent up front here. So here's the hot air duct coming into the tent. As you can see, the temperature of the air coming in is at 203.9 degrees, just hit 204 degrees Fahrenheit. So 204 degrees Fahrenheit, that's going to heat this hot tent up pretty quickly, I would think. I can't believe I'm sitting in a diesel powered hot tent of all things. It's pretty crazy. And it's getting quite hot in here, to be quite honest. I know it's not terribly cold outside, but still, it's getting hot in this tent. Now I know the volume of this tent is greater than the average overlander tent, so their tent would heat up even quicker than this. But it's getting quite hot in here. I have my carbon monoxide detector, at the ready. Now I'm sitting directly opposite the furnace, and I can just a little bit hear the fuel pump ticking. I can of course hear the blower. 200 degrees Fahrenheit of hot air coming in. It's getting really hot in here. Do I prefer it over my little wood stove? Not really. The wood stove, of course, gives some nice ambiance, and you can cook on top of the wood stove. It's really nice, but using this increases my floor space, so you could fit more people in the tent if you wanted to, and you'd still be able to stay warm. If you had a power source and you were car camping, this would be ideal. Certainly not going to replace my hot tent stove, but it's another option. So I've been hanging out in the diesel powered hot tent for a while now, and I have to say it's a pretty successful experiment. It got a little bit too hot. I had it set to 5 and I had to turn it down to 2. So right now it's just at a nice temperature to hang out, read a book, or whatever you want to do in the old hot tent. Now I'm not going to lie, they do make a little bit of noise. I can just barely hear the fuel pump ticking, and I can hear the blower. But if you've ever had an RV or even a tent trailer with a furnace inside, you know they do make some noise. You quickly get used to it. After a while, you don't even notice it at all. Now, who's this for? Well, if you're an overlander, for sure, get one of these. If you have a truck with a cap on it, you might spend the odd night sleeping in the back of your truck. Consider getting one of these too, because that will heat up the back of your truck really quickly, efficiently, and cheaply. If you're in a tent, a regular tent or even a hot tent, you could consider one of these if you want to extend your camping season into the late fall and winter, or start it early in the early spring. Something like this might suit your needs. It's pretty cool. It's nice to have it as an option. I'm not going to lie. I'm liking the diesel powered heater a lot. I'll leave a link down below to Vevor where you can check out this little furnace. Who knows, you might want to have it as an option in the future. Honestly, I didn't find them very expensive for all you get and all the versatility that it does give you. Check them out. Might be something you're interested in. I do appreciate you watching. I appreciate your support. Thanks again, guys. Stay warm. Bye for now.